Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics: The Young and the Restless spoilers, Claire's sinister revenge, Victor and Audra suffer. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, is fuming over Victor Newman's Eric Braeden plan. Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? The young woman explained to Kyle Abbott, Michael Miller, that her grandfather knew how much she cared about Kyle Abbott, Michael Miller, but he hired Audra Charles Zulia Silver to break them up anyway. It seems that Claire is long overdue too. Snap! Could sweet little Claire take a page out of Aunt Jordan's Colleen Zank playbook to teach them a lesson they'll never forget? Keep reading and let's talk about it. Kyle Abbott's confession. Fans know that Claire trusted Kyle to go to Nice despite Audra going as well. For a first relationship, that was mature of her. However, things didn't go so well in Nice, did they? Audra was under pressure from Victor to make her plan work. The brunette worked overtime trying to get Kyle closer to her. She even resorted to the old sunblock trick. It seemed for a little bit that Audra was about to win a victory. However, Kyle busted her at the last minute, claiming to know what she was doing. What is this? Cole Howard's ruined memorial. Once Kyle got back to Genoa City, it was time for Cole Howard's J. peak. Victor just couldn't resist the urge to make a comment which was aimed at Kyle. That pissed Claire right off, and she stormed out the house with Kyle hot on her trail. Later, Kyle confessed to Claire. Well, not a total confession. He did tell Claire about Audra putting the moves on him, but said there was no actual betrayal. Fans know that Kyle might not have slept with Audra, but he came dangerously close. Claire asked if anything happened, but Kyle never gave her a direct answer. That could bite him later on. Manipulative agreements. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that fans have been commenting a lot the past several months on Claire being a goody two-shoes. While every soap has a character like that, Claire has a colorful past. Everyone knows she is capable of being evil and wicked. It might just take some time before that comes out. Could she end up taking a page out of Aunt Jordan's playbook? Claire Grace Newman's transformation? Claire and Kyle's offer to Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, gets rejected. If people keep getting in the way, Claire could turn sinister to get what she wants. However, will it be a move that she later regrets? The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that the calm before the storm in Genoa City may be about to shatter as Claire Grace Newman steps out of the shadows with a plan so calculated and so deeply personal that it could send shockwaves through every corner of the Newman empire and beyond. And as whispers turn into concrete threats, it appears that her path of vengeance is aimed not only at restoring what she believes was stolen from her, but also at making those she blames feel the kind of devastation that has kept her up at night and haunted every quiet moment of her recent months since reclaiming a piece of her identity. And though many assumed Claire's reconciliation with Victoria and her acceptance into the Newman family meant a clean slate, the truth is far darker, because her acceptance might have only given her the perfect cover to carry out the kind of methodical revenge that Genoa City hasn't seen in years. And at the top of her list stand two power players who have made plenty of enemies in their own right, Victor Newman and Audra Charles, both of whom have been moving through the recent business and family dramas with an air of invincibility, but may soon find themselves blindsided by a woman who has learned from the very best how to play a long game and strike when her targets are least prepared. In recent weeks, Claire has been all smiles and politeness, attending family dinners, engaging warmly with Summer, and even lending an ear to Nikki. But behind those cordial exchanges, there have been moments where her eyes seem to darken, as if replaying some private grievance, and according to sources close to the situation, her resentment toward Victor stems from a mix of old wounds and new slights. Subscribe our channel for more latest updates. While her interest in Audra's downfall is rooted in both business rivalry and personal betrayal, what no one in the Newman orbit seems to realize is that Claire has been quietly collecting information quietly, mapping out alliances and weaknesses, and choosing moments to plant seeds of doubt where they can grow into chaos for Victor. The danger comes from her intimate access. She has been in the same room with the documents he keeps hidden on his private devices. She has overheard snippets of conversations between him and Michael Baldwin, and she knows the cracks in his health that he works so hard to conceal. If she can expose something that undermines his image as an untouchable titan, she knows it will ripple through Newman Enterprises' stock prices, board confidence, and his own family's loyalty. And if Victor thinks his iron will can withstand any storm, he might find that the most dangerous threat is not from an outside corporate shark, but from someone seated at his own table. As for Audra, her situation is even more precarious because she has made a career out of walking the razor's edge between charm and manipulation. And while she has outmaneuvered rivals like Tucker, McCall, and Nate Hastings, she may have underestimated the one player who has nothing left to lose. Claire's disdain for Audra began the moment she realized Audra had been whispering doubts about her capability into the ears of certain Newman allies, making subtle suggestions that Claire was too green, too emotionally unstable to handle any meaningful corporate role. But while Audra might see this as harmless positioning, Claire took it as an attack on her credibility. And when you add in the rumors that Audra has been positioning herself to gain more influence over Kyle Abbott's personal and professional life, the stakes turn personal and dangerously combustible. The plan Claire appears to be shaping is not one of a quick takedown, but a slow burn and orchestrated series of events that will pit Victor and Audra against each other. While she sits back and watches their mutual destruction, imagine boardroom leaks that make it appear Audra has betrayed Victor's trust and secret photos or documents that make it seem Victor has been quietly orchestrating a scheme to undercut Audra's alliances. The fallout from such a chain reaction could see both of them scrambling to save face and resources, all while Claire maintains an outward innocence. This is not just about power, it's about humiliation, making them feel the sting of being cornered without knowing exactly who put them there. The real question is whether Claire's heart will harden enough to follow through on every step, or if someone like Victoria or Nikki might catch wind of her intentions and intervene before the damage becomes irreversible. And in true Genoa City fashion, it's possible that even as she moves the pieces into place, Claire might find herself facing unexpected complications. Perhaps a growing connection to someone who could change her mind, or a sudden turn in her own personal life that forces her to question whether revenge is worth the risk. But if nothing stops her, the months ahead could see Victor's iron grip on Newman challenged from within. Subscribe our channel for more latest updates. And Audra's sharp rise brought to a grinding halt in the most public and embarrassing way possible. The city's social circles thrive on gossip, and nothing fuels that fire like a Newman scandal. And Claire knows how to make sure the whispers grow into roars. The Newmans have faced threats before, from Adam schemes to corporate raids by Jack Abbott to external villains like Ashland Locke. But an inside player with both the bloodline and the grudge to go the distance is something far more unpredictable. For Victor, this may be the ultimate test of whether his protective instincts can spot a danger even when it wears the face of family. And for Audra, this could be the one game where her quick thinking and strategic charm aren't enough to save her from being completely outplayed. And while viewers might see hints of CLA's endgame in the coming weeks, the full scope of her revenge is likely to unravel slowly, with each minor success emboldening her to take a bolder step until the trap finally springs and leaves two of the most cunning characters in Genoa City staring at the ruins of their carefully built empires. In the end, the fallout might not be confined to Victor and Audra alone, because once the dust settles, the revelations that come out could impact the alliances between the Newmans, the Abbotts, and even the likes of Chancellor Winters, forcing characters like Nick, Kyle, and even Chance into choosing sides in a war they didn't see coming. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. And in a city where loyalty is fragile and memory is long, those choices could have lasting consequences that extend far beyond this single revenge plot. Whether Claire will ultimately find satisfaction or regret in her actions remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The Young and the Restless is gearing up for a storyline that blends family betrayal, corporate intrigue, and the kind of emotional stakes that keep fans glued to their screens as each new twist threatens to change the balance of power forever. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Kyle Abbott may be on the verge of a confession that could blow apart his carefully crafted image and upend the balance of power. Not only in the Abbott family, but across Genoa City's tangled network of loyalties and grudges. For months, Kyle has been navigating a dangerous maze of personal entanglements, business rivalries, and quiet betrayals, while putting on a polished front for family and colleagues alike. Yet, beneath the surface, he has been carrying the weight of secret, some of which could be forgiven in time, and others that could alter how the people closest to him see him forever. It is this burden that seems to be pushing Kyle toward a breaking point, and sources hint that what he's about to reveal will not only shock those around him, but will also set off a chain reaction of consequences that no one is fully prepared to handle. The immediate question is what exactly Kyle feels compelled to admit. There have been whispers of clandestine meetings with Audrey Charles that went beyond the strictly professional, a dangerous flirtation with territory that could risk his co-parenting arrangement with Summer and tarnish his standing at Jabba, especially given Jack Abbott's current push for stability within the company. But the rumors don't stop there. Some insiders claim Kyle has been involved in a covert business maneuver, one that might have indirectly aided a Newman Enterprises initiative, putting him in a position of conflict with his own family's interest. Such a move could explain the recent tension between him and his father and why Jack has been more guarded in recent boardroom conversations. If Kyle's confession touches on either of these possibilities, or worse, both, it could cause a deep fracture in the Abbott legacy. But there is another layer to this looming reveal, one that connects not just to business or romance, but to trust itself. Those closest to Kyle have long believed he operates from a place of loyalty to family, above all else. Yet, in recent months, his behavior has been marked by evasive answers, unexplained absences, and an almost calculated avoidance of direct confrontation. It is as though he has been bracing for the moment when his hidden choices come to light. And now that moment may be arriving faster than he anticipated for Summer Newman Abbott. The stakes could not be higher. She has fought to maintain an amicable co-parenting relationship for the sake of their son Harrison. But if Kyle's confession involves betrayals of trust, especially those tied to her professional or personal rivals, it could reopen old wounds and push her to take a harder stance in their ongoing negotiations over boundaries and parenting responsibilities. For Jack, the confession could bring about a mix of disappointment and strategic concern. He has built his career on understanding leverage, and he knows better than anyone that in Genoa City, every piece of information can be used as currency. If Kyle has handed such currency to the wrong hands, whether intentionally or through reckless decisions, it could put the Abbott family on the defensive against enemies who would be quick to exploit the weakness. The corporate implications are equally thorny because if Kyle's admission reveals a breach of loyalty to Jo, it could embolden rivals like Tucker McCall or even Victor Newman to press their advantage and strike when the company is vulnerable. In a city where business and personal vendettas are so often intertwined, the fallout could be swift and merciless. Yet, there is an emotional dimension to this looming reveal that should not be underestimated. Kyle has been under pressure from multiple sides, balancing the weight of family expectations with the demands of his own ambition and the unpredictability of his love life. The cracks in his composure have been visible to keen observers like Diane Jenkins, who has tried to steer him away from reckless choices, but may find herself powerless to stop what's coming. If Kyle truly opens up about the full extent of his actions, it could force even his staunchest defenders to rethink their loyalties. The manner in which Kyle chooses to confess will matter almost as much as the content. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. Will he do it in a controlled environment? Perhaps during a tense family gathering at the Abbott mansion where he can attempt to frame the narrative on his terms? Or will the confession be ripped from him in the heat of an argument with Summer or Jack, making it raw, unfiltered, and impossible to walk back? The optics will matter too. Because in Genoa City, perception is half the battle. A carefully managed admission might buy Kyle some sympathy, while a chaotic public reveal could cement the damage and make him appear both guilty and unstable. There is also the intriguing possibility that Kyle's confession may not be entirely voluntary. Certain characters have been watching him closely. In recent weeks, Audra has a knack for exploiting vulnerabilities and could easily maneuver him into a position where revealing his secrets seems like the only way to regain control. Similarly, someone like Phyllis Summers, who thrives on information, could uncover enough pieces to force Kyle's hand in order to prevent a larger scandal. Whatever the catalyst, the ripple effects of this moment are likely to touch nearly every corner of the canvas. Harrison's well-being will inevitably be brought into the conversation. As both Summer and Kyle have shown, they are willing to fight fiercely to protect their son. But a public airing of dirty laundry could complicate their ability to shield him from the drama. Allies may be forced to take sides, with some standing by Kyle out of loyalty or shared interest, while others distance themselves to protect their own reputations. In the days that follow the confession, the Abbott name could find itself splashed across gossip columns and whispered about in back rooms. The family's rivals will see opportunity, and old feuds may flare, and new characters like Billy Abbott, who has his own complicated relationship with loyalty, might seize on this moment to push his own agenda within Jabao or to settle personal scores. In the end, the heart of this story line lies in the question of identity and integrity. Who is Kyle Abbott when stripped of his polished exterior and faced with the truth of his own actions? Can he rebuild the trust he's about to break? Or will this be the moment that defines him for years to come? And for fans, the coming episodes promise a blend of emotional fireworks, corporate chess moves, and the kind of deeply personal drama that has made The Young and the Restless a staple of daytime television for decades. Whatever the content of Kyle's confession may be, it is clear that Genoa City will not be the same once it's out in the open, and the fallout promises to keep viewers guessing as alliances shift, enemies circle, and the Abbotts once again find themselves tested in ways that could either tear them apart or bring them closer than ever. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Claire Grace Newman's transformation is set to become one of the most riveting and emotionally charged journeys Genoa City has seen in years. The story of redemption, reinvention, and possibly even revenge, all tangled together in the life of a young woman whose name alone carries the weight of both notoriety and potential. For months, Claire has been living in the shadow of her past, a past that was marked by manipulation, trauma, and the long reach of Jordan's schemes. Yet, in recent weeks, viewers have witnessed subtle but unmistakable changes in her demeanor, her choices, and even the way she carries herself. And now it appears that this transformation will accelerate, putting Claire on a path that could either cement her place in the Newman family or destroy it entirely. When Claire first arrived in Genoa City, she was viewed with suspicion by nearly everyone. Victoria cautiously opened the door to her daughter, but kept her guard up at all times, while Victor saw in her both a threat and an opportunity. Her connection to the family was undeniable, but so too were the scars left by her upbringing and the actions she took under Jordan's influence. Nikki, perhaps the most openly vulnerable to Claire's presence, tried to find common ground, but the memories of past betrayals made it difficult to offer unconditional trust. Now, however, those walls are beginning to shift. Claire's transformation seems to be coming from a deep inner resolve to take control of her own identity rather than allowing it to be defined by her mistakes or her lineage. She has been making deliberate choices to step out of the role of victim and into one of agency, working alongside her mother at Newman Enterprises, taking a more active interest in the family's business, and even reaching out to relatives like Nick and Adam in an attempt to bridge old divides. Yet beneath the surface, there is an undercurrent of something more complex. Claire's transformation is not just about personal growth, it is also about learning the intricate power plays that define life in the Newman orbit. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. She has been paying attention to the way Victor navigates corporate battles, how Victoria manages both ambition and family loyalty, and how rivals like Audrey Charles maneuver to gain influence. It is as if Claire is studying the chessboard of Genoa City, preparing herself for a day when she too will be a player capable of moving pieces and shaping outcomes. The emotional side of her transformation cannot be overlooked either. Claire has been opening herself up to relationships beyond the immediate family. There have been moments of connection with Harrison as she takes on an almost protective role in his life, perhaps seeing in him a reflection of the innocence she feels she lost too soon. She has also shared unexpected conversations with Kyle Abbott, exchanges that hint at mutual understanding, forged in the shared experience of navigating family expectations and personal regrets. These relationships are quietly reshaping her sense of belonging. Yet transformation in Genoa City rarely comes without challenges, and CLA's journey is no exception. There are still those who question her motives and doubt the sincerity of her changes. People like Audra may see her as a rival to be neutralized, while others like Phyllis Summers will not hesitate to stir the pot if it means gaining leverage. The possibility of romance also lingers on the horizon for Claire, though, who she might ultimately choose to let into her heart remains an open question. Such a development could either anchor her transformation in love and stability, or pull her back into the dangerous cycles of mistrust and manipulation that once defined her life. The true test of Claire's transformation will likely come when she is faced with a high-stakes decision that forces her to choose between the Newmans and her own emerging sense of independence. Will she stand with her family even if it means compromising her principles? Or will she carve out her own path, even if it risks alienating the people who are finally starting to accept her? The stakes could not be higher, because in the world of the young and the restless, every choice has ripple effects that reach far beyond the immediate moment. One wrong move could undo months of progress, while one bold step in the right direction could redefine her place in the Newman legacy forever. For Victor, the changes in Claire are both promising and unsettling. He admires ambition, but he also knows that ambition unchecked can become dangerous, especially in someone who is still earning her place in the family. For Victoria, there is a cautious hope that her daughter might truly be turning a corner. Yet the protective mother in her worries that Claire might still be vulnerable to manipulation, or worse, tempted to use the very tactics she is learning against. Though she claims to love for the audience, the coming months promise to deliver a storyline rich with emotional depth, corporate intrigue, and the kind of personal evolution that keeps fans invested. Claire Grace Newman's transformation is not a neat or predictable arc. It is messy, layered, and full of potential twists. And as each new episode peels back another layer of her character, viewers will be left wondering whether they are witnessing the rise of a Newman powerhouse, a heartfelt redemption story, or the slow, careful assembly of a new kind of thread. Either way, her journey is far from over. And the decisions she makes now will shape not just her own future, but the future of the latest spoilers from The Young and the Restless. Center on Claire Grace Newman's simmering transformation from a perceived innocent into a calculating force poised for revenge against Victor Newman and Audra Charles. Claire, long underestimated and overshadowed by her notorious family legacy and past manipulation, is quietly plotting to dismantle the power structures that have caused her pain. Her resentment toward Victor stems from both personal and business betrayals, including his hiring of Audra to sabotage Claire's relationship with Kyle Abbott. Claire's slow burn plan involves sowing discord between Victor and Audra, leveraging intimate knowledge of corporate secrets, and manipulating boardroom dynamics to erode their influence and reputation. Parallel to Claire's escalating vendetta is Kyle Abbott's impending confession, which threatens to unravel his polished image and destabilize the Abbott family's corporate and personal foundations. Kyle's secret entanglements with Audra, potential business conflicts, and evasive behavior have created tension among his family and allies. His upcoming revelation could ignite scandal, force difficult choices among family members, and shift alliances across Genoa City, impacting co-parenting dynamics and corporate loyalties. Claire's evolution is multifaceted. She is not only embracing a darker, more strategic persona but also seeking personal redemption and agency. Her interactions with family members like Victoria, Nikki, and Kyle show glimpses of vulnerability mixed with growing ambition. While some in the Newman orbit remain skeptical of her motives, Claire's ability to blend charm with cunning makes her a uniquely dangerous player. The storyline promises a rich mix of emotional drama, corporate intrigue, and family betrayal, with Claire's choices poised to dramatically reshape the power dynamics of the Newman and Abbott families and the wider Genoa City community. Highlights: Claire Grace Newman plots a calculated revenge against Victor Newman and Audra Charles. Claire uses insider knowledge and corporate secrets to undermine her enemies. Kyle Abbott's secretive behavior and looming confession threaten the Abbott family's stability. Claire's plan involves pitting Victor and Audra against each other for mutual destruction. Corporate intrigue intensifies as family loyalties in Newman Enterprises and Jabot hang in the balance. Claire's transformation blends ambition, personal growth, and potential romantic developments. The storyline highlights themes of betrayal, redemption, and shifting alliances in Genoa City. Key insights: Claire's transformation reflects a complex character arc. Claire's journey from a perceived goody two-shoes to a strategic avenger reveals a layered character development. Her past trauma and manipulation have forged a resilience and cunning that position her as a formidable player in the Newman Empire. This nuanced transformation adds depth to the narrative, making her revenge both personal and multifaceted. Revenge as a slow-burn strategy. Unlike quick, impulsive acts, Claire's plan is methodical and patient. She leverages her insider status to gather intelligence, map weaknesses, and orchestrate events to maximize impact. This long game approach heightens tension, as viewers witness the subtle build-up before the inevitable collision. It also underscores the psychological complexity of revenge as both a power play and emotional release. Kyle Abbott's confession as a catalyst for family and corporate turmoil. Kyle's secretive actions and impending confession serve as a critical narrative pivot that could fracture the Abbott family's unity and corporate strength. His personal struggles, including risky relationships and possible business betrayals, humanize him but also expose vulnerabilities that rivals can exploit. This subplot reinforces the theme that personal decisions in Genoa City have far-reaching consequences. Interplay of personal and corporate intrigue. The storyline interweaves family drama with high-stakes corporate maneuvering, illustrating how power struggles within Newman Enterprises and Jabot are inseparable from personal vendettas. Claire's manipulation of boardroom dynamics and public perception demonstrates how business tactics, become tools of emotional warfare in Genoa City's elite circles. The fragility of loyalty and trust. Both Claire's and Kyle's arcs emphasize the precarious nature of trust in their families and social circles. Claire's resentment toward Audra's attempts to undermine her credibility, and Kyle's evasiveness, highlight how fragile alliances can quickly deteriorate under pressure. This fragility fuels conflict and drives the narrative tension forward. Potential for dramatic fallout and ripple effects. The consequences of Claire's revenge and Kyle's confession are expected to extend beyond the immediate targets, threatening to redraw alliances among the Newmans, Abbotts, and other Genoa City power players. This broad impact promises a dynamic, interconnected storyline where choices reverberate across multiple fronts, affecting business, family, and personal relationships. Emotional complexity amidst power struggles. Claire's storyline is not solely about vengeance. It also explores themes of identity, redemption, and emotional growth. Her evolving relationships, particularly with Kyle and her family, introduce moments of vulnerability and humanity, complicating her narrative and inviting viewers to empathize with her despite her darker intentions. This duality enriches the drama and deepens audience investment. In summary, The Young and the Restless is setting the stage for a gripping, multi-layered storyline that blends family betrayal, corporate chess games, and emotional upheaval, centered on Claire Grace Newman's rise as an unpredictable force and Kyle Abbott's potential downfall. The coming episodes promise to reshape Genoa City's landscape, with far-reaching consequences for all involved.